Roland Emmerich makes another science fiction movie and he again worked with Ed Warren. Oh, I'm sorry, I meant Patrick Wilson. Emmerich destroys the world in 2012. In 2012, in our world, the sky did fall. 10 years later, the moon did fall. Well, Roland Emmerich with the movies he made, I have to call him Mr. Destroying, or Mr. War, or Mr. Disaster. In Midway or The Day After Tomorrow, he did well and Peter Disaster good. But Moonfall, well, is again a science fiction movie, and the story is about the end of the world and politics. In 2012, in our world, the sky did fall. In Moonfall's world, 3 astronauts travel to the moon to repair a shuttle, but suddenly, something stranger happens to them and their travel becomes a fucking disaster. When they come back to the Earth, the court found Brian Harper, played by Patrick Wilson, the main culprit, so they fired him. 10 years later, an uneducated man named Casey Houseman, played by John Bradley, who knew Harper his master, discovers that the moon is coming out of its orbit, so he tries to tell this to Brian, but Brian doesn't accept it. A few times later, NASA discovers this too, but they try to hide it. But an unnamed source who found out about this before NASA published the departure of the moon from the orbit early on the social network. It is possible that this person, this unnamed source, is someone like this gentleman. Yeah, maybe he is. This part of the movie was like Don't Look Up. I don't know if you watched Don't Look Up or not, but in Don't Look Up, again like Moonfall, politics men, in fact politics women, try to hit something from people, something global from people. Maybe if the movie released next spring or summer, I could say Emmerich wanted to make the movie like Don't Look Up because politics side was really like Don't Look Up. But it wasn't colorful like that. By the way, you can see Don't Look Up's review from this link. So the moon starts to get out of its orbit, so human needs to save Earth from the goddamn moon. The story pictures the fear that if the moon, the nearest sphere to us, gets out of its orbit and collide with us. For some years, the researchers were saying the moon is getting close to us every year. I don't know how it's right, but Emmerich used this and mixed it with imagination. The military of America decides to nuke it, and they know the consequences of this action. So Casey, who was thinking that the moon is a mega structure, so Casey and 2 other astronauts decided to do something about this. The movie had a subject with global effects. In a story, a disaster is coming to people of the Earth, and it has politics, science, terror, death, and technology. In Don't Look Up, it was exactly like this. Don't Look Up had a disaster with global effect and politics, and like Moonfall. And the stars were too much, and in some points, the movie had extra stars, like this guy, but in Moonfall, the movie was trying to use a few stars and go on just with them, and it was not enough for this story. About characterization, well, the movie had 3 heroes and main characters. In addition to the moon problem, in their life, in heroes' personal life, they had their own problems, and showing these problems for the movie was good for its drama. For example, Brian. He had his bad son, his ex-wife and her girls, his assistant's problems, or Casey, his mom, his friends, and his loneliness problem. Jacinda and her ex-husband and her son. The problems they had were cliché, and most of the things the movie had were cliché. The main story, the reason of the disaster of the story, and everything in the movie. Like in the end of the world, humans they kill each other for food, or even the end. I don't want to spoil what will happen, but in the middle of the movie, they make you exciting a bit, not too much, and then they cannot meet expectations, and when you understand the reason of all those disasters, you are really disappointed. The reason was a sort of like an excuse, and many of the things that got our film involved were really ridiculous and frustrating. Alright, I don't want to admit that the movie had lovely visual effects, but in some points, they could not remove the green screen very good. It was like the background, the VFX they made was good, but replacing it with the green screen was not good enough in some points. When you watch the sequence, you can understand, yeah, it's green screen. But I think there was full lighting, and they could not give their images enough depth. You can see that the actors clung to each other so much, and it seemed as if behind the scenes, the set on which the actors were playing on was too small, and it happened while the budget was very much $136 million. It's shameless that the only car with $75 million could be nominated for Academy Award for Best Editing. By the way, it had a lot of stars, but Moonfall, the budget was almost double, nearly double, but the result was not satisfying. The movie for cliche things was not exciting enough. The end, well, when I watched the end of the movie, I remembered Interstellar. In Interstellar, Nolan made everything like a circle, very complicated circle. It was like this: human in future, save human present, save human in past, and human in past build human in future. One point was everything is connected, and the second point is we saved ourselves, we worked for ourselves. In Moonfall, I think the director wanted to make a complicated circle like Nolan, and he made the circle exactly like Nolan, but I said the reason of making this circle was not good enough. In addition to the end, the drama, it wasn't powerful enough. Emmerich wanted to give us more information about the characters. He got the information, but for the time of the movie, it wasn't enough. He couldn't complete the information. Till now I was just talking about the bad points. Well, it had good points too, but there were so few, and they were not fresh, because with a Moonfall, don't look abuse them, like politics. They do everything for their place in government. Or for example, how much powerful a person can be. At all, the movie was not satisfying enough, but it wasn't a human disaster. I think a score of 5.5 is appropriate for this movie. What do you think? What score do you think is appropriate for this film? Tell me in comments or read them all. Alright guys, if you wanted today's review, you can see more reviews from this link. Just come and click on it. So much channel for some more reviews, and don't forget to comment which movie you'd like me to have a review for you, and if you didn't like this video till now, do it custom with and put your masks on to the next clip.